G'day Battlers, and welcome to the G'day Battlers podcast, number 20, I believe now, with my co-host PvP Steve.
Hi.
Hi, and myself, Debbie Pebble. Today's episode, we're going to talk about one particular regional, Steve.
One very specific regional that is very, very far away from most of us, but very close to one person in particular.
You're coming to see me, of course. Yay.
Wow.
Bring your sleeping bags. Come over. We'll start the podcast here.
Oh, true. Yeah, we didn't bother. We were just like, we can do it when I'm back. So here we are.
All right. So getting into the podcast here. Yeah, it's been a while since we did a last podcast, Steve.
It is. It has been, I don't know, like a month? Hang on. I'm just going to type in youtube.com/@G'dayBattlers. Was that a really sneaky... Okay, yeah, it says 4 weeks ago. So it's been a little bit.
Is that a sneaky plug? That's not sneaky at all. We're not subtle in this podcast.
I don't think... No one noticed it. So I think that's a success. Dang, we're good. You can't see me, but I'm like, doing the thing with like the finger guns, and I'm like blowing the smoke off the end of the finger guns.
I'm quite aware of your finger guns. Oh gosh. Look, after a week of you spending time in Perth, I'm very aware.
Yeah. F's in chat.
But yes, it has been about a month since our last podcast. Now, it's because we've been busy, Steve.
Yes. So essentially, for the big news on the street, that if you only listen to this podcast and you don't consume any other media, you don't follow us on Twitter, you don't watch the Twitches, you don't look at anything, then you may not be aware. This might be the first time you're hearing, but the Perth Regional Championship did have a live stream, a community stream. So if this is the first you're hearing about it, woo! But the long story short of it is that we were intending to put out a podcast sort of once that announcement went out. In the end, the announcement only came out on the Tuesday immediately before the regional on the Saturday. And at that time, my little recording area happened to be flooded. So
classic Newcastle.
Look, I just moved. Oh, this is also first podcast in the new... Wait,
houses.
Is it?
New houses?
Whoa, it is. We've both moved. Wild.
I know.
So in sync.
Not that, people can see us and see the new houses and see the new backgrounds, but, new houses for both of us.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really been every stream / video I've done has been with the green screen. So there's not even any difference, I guess. The lighting's different is it. But as you said, it doesn't matter on the podcast. So
it would be
sort of irrelevant.
Stream for people to see it.
Wow, we can make that happen. Tune into Debbie Pebble Twitch stream very, very soon, I'm sure.
Is it a cleaning stream because of my inventory? Is this an intervention again? I knew it. I knew it was another intervention.
Look, I think it might be necessary pretty badly. But anyway, all of that to say that we are back now. It's been some time, but this is essentially the announcement podcast plus the post-Perth podcast all rolled into one. For all of the goodness, episode 20.
Yeah, absolutely. Episode 20 with all the goods. Also to note, we usually after a regional, we tend to interview the champion.
We do.
We decided...
Wait, don't tell me he's not coming, Debbie.
Look, he had plans. Something to do with some wrestling match, something to do with belts in a running race. I don't know.
All right.
But we will be interviewing the champion next time. We currently, someone's just a bit under the weather at the moment.
Yeah, okay. So, fun little fact. So, Perth Regional was a one-day event. It was all wrapped up on the Saturday. We'll get into this a little bit later, but on the Sunday, we also had a cup. Shout out to Pebble. Again, we'll come back to that in a little bit. But we did the cup. We ended up back at Debbie's place. And I was very cool, and I was like, you know what would be a real good laugh would be
Oh.
to just have just casually sort of go, oh, whoopsie daisies, have a faint in the bathroom, hit my head, and hung out in the hospital and picked up a concussion. So that's what we're currently nursing. So
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Look, if I gave you the Perth tour, like the local hospital was not part of the itinerary. And yeah, you got to meet some lovely doctors and
I
the
did.
lovely nursing staff at the local Perth hospital, and I didn't didn't expect that. So Steve was a hard working boy, and obviously a lot has happened throughout this weekend, and um, yeah, I can't look at my bathroom the same way. Uh, every time I go in and
Oopsies.
have a shower, I'm just like, oh, this is the spot.
Yep. It was pretty special, but
Thank you
hey,
for, christening my house with a blood oath with your own blood of your skull.
yeah.
That's much appreciated.
I mean, you're welcome, and I guess thank you for indenting my head with some of your bathroom tiles. Um,
Oh.
it's recovering. The wound is pretty good at this point.
So is my
Um,
tiles.
yeah, it's a good thing I'm a relatively light guy, I guess. Um,
Yes.
shout out to the tiles. But yeah, all that to say is that at the moment my memory is not as good as I would like it to be. So uh, you should have seen how long it took me to remember the word paracetamol earlier. The trick being, I did not remember. I eventually got I had to look at the back of the packet to see what the name was and be like, oh yeah, that guy. It's it's been a day.
Uh,
But anyway, we were like, why would that stop us from doing a podcast? Wait, hang on. I'm sorry. Is that just going to make this even more rambly than usual? That doesn't sound possible. So here we are. Bada bing, bada boom, episode 20.
oh, not the finger guns again. Didn't we? All right. Now that we have a bit of context of what's going on, let's talk about Perth Regional. We had a
Okay.
stream, Steve.
We did. We had a stream, the first ever Oceanic Regional Championship to get a stream. The only other stream in the Oceanic region for Pogo was for OCIC, which is was obviously its own little special affair. But for the first time ever, we had a community stream for a regional, which was pretty cool.
It was really cool. I think we've this whole podcast has been about showcasing the Australian talent, and the fact that we could actually do it, live stream it, real time, show it off. It was spectacular. I was just so excited to be a part of it, and also that you know everyone can find out and join along in the excitement, just not us just sitting in the sidelines like we usually do in every other regional.
After we, lose eventually.
Yeah. We don't talk about
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
yeah. We'll get there.
Frustration
Anyway,
anger. Yep.
hey, you came top 12. That's different. Um, so yeah, essentially we ended up getting approval from the Pokemon Company International and also from ESL Australia to sort of put our own stream together. It was very, we had to organize all of the tech, all of the casters, all of the everything essentially. But once we had that approval, it was like, oh yeah, we can do this. I mean, it's sort of what I was saying from the start. Really, I was just like, hey, well, okay. Like, I guess broader context. I've been messaging ESL Australia since the very first regional back in 2022. I was like, hey, stream question mark,
Mm,
and they were pretty much always like, not this time, maybe next time. And
mm.
I kept messaging every regional. I think the last, maybe it was like Brisbane regional. Maybe it's the one before that. Maybe it's I don't know. It's one of the region again concussed. One of the regionals.
Oh,
Um,
bless. Head
I'm trying my
injury,
best.
head
Uh,
injury one. What do
yeah,
I count?
yeah. Oh man, that is not a count. I'm gonna want to pay attention to. It's gonna go high,
I will.
but yeah, yeah. Follow along at home, chat. Why am I saying chat? There's no chat here.
Two.
Anyway, oh, I'm okay.
Aw.
Yeah, I want to say I forget what I was talking about, but I know that's going to make it up to 3. Oh, I remember. Okay, so there was one of the
Pause.
regionals.
Recovery. Hmm.
One of the regionals, they just didn't respond, and at that point, I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe we're out of luck here." But eventually, I ended up hearing back for them, both ESL Australia and the Pokemon Company. They gave their sort of blessings. There was sort of lots of back and forth with ESL Australia to make sure we were sort of on the same page, because obviously they have an event to run for a lot of different games. It's not just Pokemon Go. So there was sort of a lot to manage, a lot to make sure that, I guess, we weren't impeding on the progress of the event.
Mm.
Make sure that we could do what we wanted to do without impacting what they wanted to do. And sort of once we had all of that out on the table, yeah, it was just about making it happen.
Yeah, it was. I think like for me, it was like it was a bit of nerves and also like heaps of excitement at the same time. Um, because yeah, it was just it was just such a long time coming. I think from my perspective and knowing your efforts of how long it's been and the fact that we finally got to the point where we're just like, ah, we've got the ticks. We've got the ticks of approval. Steve, hurry up and come over to Perth. Um, which was like super exciting. I mean, on the Thursday or the Wednesday you arrived, but on Thursday we were like, all right, we need to get our outfits ready. Steve forgot a
Oh,
one vital
yeah.
piece of his suit. So
Yeah, yeah. Look, I had the blazer, I had the pants, yeah, I had the pins. I was apparently missing the shirt. So as much as it would be sort of Australian vibe to sort of rock in shirtless with just the suit jacket on, figured we wanted to make sure that this wasn't the last community stream in the oceanic region. So we Debbie took me out to, I think, H&M, and we got a 29, it was actually, I think it was 27.99 button up t-shirt,
uh,
which or button up
yeah.
t-shirt, button up shirt, which works
Hmm.
pretty good.
Hmm. Look, it was very much a last minute buy. I think it was fine for what we needed on the day. No need to go to like, a high end store for a fancy shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I had it at home. It was just hanging up. It just didn't come with
Hmm.
me. I
Hmm.
forgot, and that was pre-concussion.
Wasn't gonna count it. Uh, and then yeah, after Thursday, I can't remember what we did on Thursday. Yeah, shopping, trying to get like last minute items for the stream setup.
Hmm.
And then Friday, um it was bring Steve to work day. so, so Steve got to see where I work and so,
Wow. It
for half the
turns
day.
out Debbie doesn't do just full-time Pokemon. It's crazy. It's like she lives a whole nother life she doesn't tell us about.
And we'll keep it that way. And then I think I dropped you off at the train station. I was like, all right, see you later. I've got to
Yeah,
work the rest of the day. And off you went. Use the
yeah,
first time Transperth, the public transport system in Perth.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's all right. I guess I had no major complaints. I got on the thing. I got off the thing. I was at the thing. Happy days. But
Hmm.
yeah, essentially, I headed into the city to start the setup process for the stream. So ESL sort of let me into the venue while they were setting up. We got our high vis vest on, because it was, I guess, a work area. Started setting everything up, making sure it all worked, see where our space was going to be. I guess essentially, for those who aren't, well, I guess we haven't really talked about this anyway. So essentially, the setup for the stream was we had the two phones feeding into two Elgato capture cards that then fed into the one laptop that I'm currently using to record this podcast. Okay. So then we essentially were sending that feed out. Well, actually, well, yeah, I guess it doesn't actually matter the specifics, but we sent those phone screens out to Miss Mystic, who was going to be producing this broadcast remotely from the US, which, by the way, as always needs to be said when Miss Mystic gets brought up, absolute legend. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so legend. She had just done EUIC the immediate weekend before. She was staying up till I think 4 a.m. her time to produce this broadcast. Then immediately after the stream, had to do some stuff for Pokemon Unite, and then immediately after that was producing Orlando Regionals. So just insane woman, so talented. We are very lucky to have her on our side in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that, she, I don't function well on sleep deprivation. She is incredible. Uh, like, I cannot believe how much she can fit into one day.
You know what happens when I have sleep deprivation? I faint and fall on the bathroom tiles. So, Miss Mystic
Okay.
is a hero, to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Just how many times am I going to bring that up?
We're not even 18 minutes into the podcast. We've got plenty of time left.
Oh gosh.
So, so yeah, we were sending the phone screens to Miss Mystic, and then we had a caster desk set up across the road in a hotel. So it turned out that it was going to be cheaper to do it in a hotel room across the road than it was to do it in a room in the venue. So we were like, oh well, I guess this will be how we do it.
Which I
And
actually didn't
so
mind. Like we
yeah.
had, I think having like usually I've been to conferences where they have a big boardroom or something like that, and it's either for what the purposes of what we needed. It was probably a bit too big to have something that big, and even small
Hmm.
meeting rooms. They're just like it is just a room and that's it. Whereas at least with a hotel room, like there was a kitchen facility, there was a lounge, there was like a bathroom. There's a bedroom. So like worst case scenario is just like in between we could duck out and just grab something to eat from the fridge or duck to the bathroom and things like that. So I think it actually worked out probably possibly better.
Yeah. One of the other things that it solved was making sure we could actually get internet. So we had the internet on site for the phone screens being sent out through an Ethernet port. Essentially, we paid the venue to get an internet line, and that internet line was exclusively used for the phones being sent out. If
Mm.
we were to set up a room inside the venue for the casting, then we would have needed to work out another solution. It wouldn't have been entirely clear where that room would have been. It would have got a bit more costly, and so by doing it in the hotel room, we we literally paid like $10 for decent internet from the hotel, and that just sort of ticks the box. So it ended up being cheaper from both a space perspective and also from an internet perspective. So it kind of was just best of all worlds a little bit, except for the fact that it meant there was a tiny little trek between the hotel and the venue, but that was kind of fine in the end. But yeah, essentially, after work, Debbie ended up rocking in. We set everything we needed to up. We tested to make sure it worked. We had a little, Debbie and I did a practice battle. No, no need to talk about the results.
I got annihilated. And there was a
Well,
lot of annihilate.
you got Greninja'd is how it ended up
Yeah,
going.
this guy.
Uh, what can I say? Greninja hype.
I
But
suppose there's merit to the PvP and PvP Steve.
look, I think it was looking pretty bad for me until that Greninja came out. Let's just put it that way. But
Should have
we
known you
tested it
would
all.
bring a water type. Anyway, yes, go
Oh
on.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I think I brought a team I was using in like Open Great League the week before or something. I think, but yeah, we had it all set up. We came in, we tested everything, we made sure the equipment all worked, the internet worked, everything worked, and that kind of, we were set for the night and
Mhm.
hoping that it all worked out the next day.
Yeah, come Saturday, we got up quite early just to, get dressed, get done, get everything sorted, leave the house, get to the convention center to get to the hotel and make sure like everything was properly set up because then I could bring the equipment from home as well because I when I came on Friday I didn't have like my computer set up and everything. Then that was all brought in. At this point, you went down to the convention center. I stayed up in the hotel just to set up and I think you were just checking that everything was working and got the okay. And then we headed down again just for the briefing for everyone before they got started.
Yeah. So basically, I know there was a little bit of confusion around this at the time, but the actual tournament sort of officially started at 9 a.m. Perth time. In reality, it sort of started, I don't know, maybe around 9:20, like after all of the briefings and such. And like the first battle probably kicked off somewhere around 9:20.
Mm-hmm.
And so we set the stream to start at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And there were sort of two reasons behind this. Number one was because generally certainly my experience, the Australian regionals, this is probably the quickest it started, I would suggest. And not that it's like a bad thing or anything,
It's
but
because
like,
there's no brutal swing.
yeah, there was no one trying to use some wacky move sets to hold the tournament up. That may be a contributing factor. I will, that is just what it is. Sorry, everyone. Uh, but just in case it sort of started a little bit late, we wanted to, set our expectations sort of conservative. And then also we wanted to make sure that once the battles were actually starting, we sort of wanted there to be at least one matchup that used the stream phones with the, everything being sent out to Miss Mystic to make sure that everything worked for not only the stream, but also for the competitors so that it wasn't, getting in their way too much. It wasn't like the phones weren't getting insanely hot or it just, we wanted to make sure it worked. So we sort of built in that buffer room so that, so that everything worked, which unfortunately did mean that we missed out on a couple of really good battles. So the very
Mm.
first like test match was it? Oh my gosh,
Average
it was,
versus
yeah,
Mikey Morgs.
Mikey
Oh,
Morgs. Yeah,
yes.
I could remember Mikey Morgs. I was just like, hang on, it was another Worlds guy.
That's okay. That's okay. I
Yeah,
won't count it for you.
we'll count it. Concussion number what? 3, 4. Um,
Oh, it is three now.
Okay, we're counting 3. So yeah, we did unfortunately miss those guys' battle, which I think Fishy Legs, who was one of the other casters, they could watch the battle, and he said that they
Mm.
were some really good matches. So
Mm.
yeah, unfortunate that we didn't see them play out on stream, but eventually, the stream did kick off
Mhm,
just
mhm.
after 10. Maybe it was like 10 past 10, something like that.
Yeah. Yep, yep.
And we were sort of off to the races because we started at like sort of 10 past 10 instead of 10. We missed the first battle of RicFlareon versus Rob Drogo. Again, two
Correct.
worlds
Yes.
competitors.
Uh-huh.
Also, for context, I watched a few Twitch streams back, and there was a little bit of confusion around the fact that there was no seeding. ESL Australia just didn't want to run seeding for this particular tournament. They haven't this season for the Oceanic region, so no
Mm.
seeding, which is why there were sort of all of these worlds guys sort of butting heads very early on in the tournament.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, stream kicked off. We jumped straight into it, but after a while, I feel like it smoothed out, and it was a stream.
It was a stream, and yeah, it was good. I think, yeah, to kick off the stream with Ric Flareon versus Rob Drogo, you're just kind of like, well, that's one way to start a stream. But yeah, we got into like this game two, or like halfway through game two. Like I think they switched out of their first, their leads by the time we
Yeah.
started the actual stream itself. So very quick turnaround, but hey, at least the phones were working. Like it was
hmm
clear,
hmm
things were happening, so that was super exciting. And people really got into it as straight away. So I was like, sweet, okay, things are good, things are moving ahead.
Yeah, there was, I think very early on, there was a huge raid from It's Axon, the 2023 Yokohama world champion, who has always been a massive supporter of the oceanic region in general as
Mm,
well. So, deserves a lot of credit and kudos in that regard because, I think famously the oceanic region does get slept on quite a bit. Um,
mhm,
hence this podcast, hence this community stream being quite a big deal
mhm,
in making sure that we actually got that representation on the big stage, I suppose. So there were a lot of people watching the entire time. There were a lot of really good battles. I think that the sort of overarching what word do I want to use here? Like the a comment that was made quite a bit about Perth Regionals was that while it was a really small regional, it was probably the regional with the highest percentage of really top battlers. So
mm,
it was so stacked in that there were so many like just juggernauts like your RicFlareons, your Avrips, your Mikey Morgs, Rob Drogo, Rocket Claire. Like there were all of these people that are so
mhm,
talented
mhm.
filling out that like relatively small player count, that it was very anyone's game type of tournament, I
Yeah.
feel like.
I'd feel bad for someone that would just be like, "Oh, there's a Pokemon Go tournament. Yeah, let's just, I don't do that very well in GBL. I'll get to like, rank 15 and I'm just going to go and try." And then you just like get knocked out by like two world competitors. You're like, "Ah."
Yeah. Which, again, seeding would help to prevent that. So we'll have our fingers crossed that going to the 2025 season, we get seeding in the Oceanic region. We can hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. But I guess other bits about the stream. We, as I sort of briefly mentioned before, we had Fishy Legs 2 as one of the casters who was virtually casting in, wasn't on the grounds in Perth. And then we also had Rise to Occasion making a surprise appearance, a bit of North American invasion, as has been the theme this month, I think.
I
Uh,
I love the fact that people were like, "Rises in Perth." I'm like, yep, he totally came over to Australia.
Yep. Yeah, no, he was not. Alas, it would have been nice if he gave us a visit, but that's fine.
Next time.
It did mean that he stayed up until like 4 a.m. our time, which I actually saw
Oh,
a comment in the Arena Australis Discord where I think it was actually Jai who, we'll talk about Jai in a little bit, but he was like, you can't believe Rise is staying up till like 4 a.m. for this, and I said something along the lines of, after all of the years of me getting up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. for all of those Silver Arena streams, it's finally time to start pushing that onto the Americans. So
mm.
we, he did a smasher of a job in staying up
Ah,
super late and casting really well as well. So
oh, he was definitely an asset. We're
oh
gonna
yeah,
have to invite him back for next time.
in person next time, hopefully.
Yeah, in person,
Um,
please.
yeah, naturally.
Well,
Yeah,
without the EUIC voice loss as well.
yeah. He mentioned that he'd sort of like, he got back from EUIC again the weekend before. There was some quick turnaround on these guys, but EUIC, he sort of lost his voice, and then Fishy Legs made a comment like, "Oh yeah, I saw your Vivillon video. Yeah, maybe you should take a few days off." And I went and watched that and was like, "Oh yeah, you can you can see there's a bit of a lack of voice going on here." So I mean, look, to Rise's credit, he recovered well.
He did. I think, the honey tea definitely helped.
Shout out Honey Tea, official sponsor of the G'day Battlers podcast, or at least it could be. Uh,
Ah, please insert ad here because we need to pay Steve. Talking about paying for Steve, there is a Patreon link, by the way. Not Patreon link,
no.
sorry. A GoFundMe. Uh,
Oh, is that your concussion number one?
oh,
Uh,
what? I didn't fall on the tiles in my bathroom.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Ah. it every time like it's mentioned, it hurts a little. Let's put it that way. It's kind of like I'm
Uh,
laughing about it, but I'm also like, oh, it's just it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit painful.
for you.
Yes, for
Yeah,
me. It's all about me.
yeah.
Come on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
I'm joking. But yes, no, thank you for our casters like Fishy Legs and Rise did incredibly well. And I think they did like I would say maybe a good 66% of the
Yeah.
stream.
Oh, definitely. They hard carried the stream. 'Cause there are a few bits like at the start of the stream, we had a few extra bits to sort out. We had to get all of the teams written up. We had the printout of the team sheets, and so we had to write that up in a spreadsheet so that Miss Mystic could use it for the team graphics. Which, by the way, that is probably the biggest piece of feedback that came out of the Perth regional stream is that Miss Mystic's like team graphic stuff looked incredible. Like if you
Mm,
haven't watched the stream, first of all, go watch it. The VOD is, I mean, if you're listening to this immediately, the VOD is still live on my Twitch channel. I think does that expire after like 2 weeks? Is that is that
2
is that the
weeks.
time span?
So
2 weeks.
so basically,
Um,
if you want to watch it with Twitch chat, go watch it on Twitch pretty much for another week. You've got another week
yeah,
if you were listening to
yeah.
the podcast right now. However, if you kind of the time has elapsed and it's been 2 weeks since Perth Regionals, then you're gonna have to go on to Steve's YouTube channel and plug here.
Yeah. The VOD is over there. It does the benefit of the YouTube VOD is that most of the the BRB screen is cut out. Which there was one unfortunately timed lunch break during the stream where essentially we had two battlers on stream and they finished up their battles, and then we got word that there was a 45-minute lunch break and we just weren't going to have any battles for that time, which if we were pre-prepared we would have me and Debbie were could have jumped on and done some caster battles, but we just didn't think of it at the time. So there was one lengthy be right back screen in the middle there. But
That's all right. My
we
charmers will see another day.
you'll get your revenge one day, I'm sure. But
I will.
regardless, we actually got a lot of battles through on the
Mm,
live stream, which I went in relatively um not pessimistic, but potentially realistic in okay, I know they don't want to hold up this tournament. I feel like they're not going to get line up too many battles for us because they don't want to take the risk of holding things up. But really, like ESL, the head judge Ross, and also the other judges David, and also Dr. Trotter, who is in the building
mm.
as the official stream judge. David did some stream judging as well, but Trotter sort of flying all the way in from Townsville to act as stream judge. They kept it moving so smoothly. And
Yeah.
just we really had a constant stream of battles to the point where even once we got to the top 6, we were able to stream every single battle, which was
Hmm.
incredible.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. They really ran I think it was so smooth and like greatly appreciated as well that everything just went as well as it could, Steve.
hmm Yeah, there were no, complaints about it holding up the tournament. There were no concerns about the phones so much. There was no, it just all seemed to come together and
Mm.
work, which
Hmm.
I am very happy about because I was definitely coming into this weekend, with the stress over my head of if this goes really badly, we will probably not get to do this again. So
Hmm.
let's try to make it work, hey? And it really just did.
Yeah. And let's not try to stress you out anytime soon. So uh, um anyway, so battles came in and out. It was epic to watch, honestly. I think some look, some of the battles including I think one of the streams we had like El Cavissimo was on there as
Mm.
well, and I'm just like, "Oh, that's really nice for to stream that because he came all the way to Perth to play." Um El Cavissimo originally from America, that flew over. I may have called him an invader, but I mean it in the nicest sense.
Look, I think that's official terminology as far as the EUIC stream was concerned. So that's if they said it, I'm sure we can say it.
I think if you are flying into Australia, you don't get teased a little bit. It's just a way of we accepting you. It's just like you got to get bullied a little.
Please keep coming, please. We-
We need the CP. We need to boost the numbers.
yeah. Get us to 48, please. Thanks.
Oh dear. But yeah, I was really impressed with the locals. The locals did very well in Perth Regionals this year.
Yeah.
And I say that like with all of them as well. Now, I being a local myself, have participated in the last two Perth regionals. I'm pretty familiar with like who's around, but this year it was really outstanding, and I expected it to be something similar to previous years. I expected Avrip to do really well. I expected Rob Drogo to do really well, and the fact that they were both in losers, like I think from like round two or round three, I was like,
Mm.
oh, they might have to verse each other. Like, there goes my hope of a three-peat of the boys in the grand finals again.
Hmm.
But there were a few other locals that did very well.
Yeah, it was actually like for me, who not a Perth local, a number of the names were sort of. Well, I mean, a few of the names were completely new to me. A few of the names I'd only sort of seen in some of the like Australian tournaments. Like a lot of them had never done an Australian regional before.
Mhm.
So I think in the top four of the winners finals, it was literally three Perth locals plus RicFlareon. So I think it was RicFlareon, Z-Tarb, They Love Jai, and then Bandit Beartick in that top four, which, shout out Perth. Like, Perth was definitely playing solid defense pretty much the whole way through, which the only other one the other battle are sort of creeping their way into the toppity top was Rocket Claire, who made
Mhm.
a huge run along the losers bracket. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
absolutely.
literally dropping like at the very start of the tournament and just kept the dreams alive. She literally lost her first round and
Yeah.
just then got win after win after win after win after win after win, literally not dropping another battle. Like it was just a string of 2-0s. It was pretty
Hmm,
incredible.
hmm. Yeah, all the way to I think the losers final. Is that correct? Like,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
that she
Yeah.
actually finally dropped a set and unfortunately losing to They Love Jai. And I think it's time to talk about Jai.
Yeah, a little bit of an elephant in the room, I guess. And people who know who Jai is, they're already well aware of the dealio. And I'm not actually sure how we addressed this in some of the earlier podcasts when we were talking about the Anacor's APAC Championship League, but
Oh, I just
Jai's
said I said his full username.
Yeah, okay. I figure that must have been the case. So yeah, Jai's original in-game name is Jai Loves Latinas. And so going into Perth Regionals this year, his first ever regional championship, he knew that the writing was on the wall. He was going to have to change his name. He knew that wasn't going to fly going into the actual tournament structure. So the night before, they sort of messaged him and they were like, hey, you're going to have to change it. And there was a bit of a, what's the word? Uh,
Discourse.
yeah, discourse in one of the Discord servers, sort of with ideas about like, oh, you could you could rename yourself to this, you could rename yourself to that, and eventually he settled on the name They Love Jai, which I will say. When on the broadcast you accidentally say Jai loves Latinas and then sort of catch yourself and then go back and say they love Jai, it doesn't really make it any better. uh,
Oh, what an
so,
epic name.
it's kind of awesome. So,
Uh,
shout out, they love Jai.
Shout out to Jai. Jai being a local of mine and running local cups and challenges, I've got to say his username plenty of times, and it cracks me up every single time. So now that he's been changed his username, not as funny, but it's still funny.
Yeah, look, and he's 17 for the record. Like he's a very young guy, which isn't something that I usually get to say when we're talking about these tournaments and such. So, I'll take the opportunity where I can, I guess. But look,
Hmm.
he's clearly incredibly talented at this game and ended up literally coming second place. So, kind of good, evidently.
Oh, look, there's something cooking in Perth. Let's put it that way. But yeah, no, did incredibly well. Like first regional all the way, and to take you know the champion to a bracket reset.
Yeah, look, he went through the winners bracket all the way to the winners finals. He ended up losing hard to Rick with a 3-0. Going into well, it took out Rocket Claire in the losers finals and then went
Hmm.
up to the grand finals against Rick. Again, at this point, RicFlareon had not lost a single battle. It had been
Hmm.
2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 with a 3-0 in the winners finals. RicFlareon wins the first battle. He's up 1-0. He's like, okay, two more battles, and RicFlareon is the Perth Regional Championship. But
Hmm.
then Jai wins one, and
Hmm.
then Jai wins another one, and then Jai wins another one, and he's just reset the bracket with a 3-1. And
Hmm.
Rick's sitting there like, okay. And then they go into the reset, and then Jai wins the first one. Okay, that's 4 in a row.
Yep.
And then Jai wins the second one. That's 5 in a row.
I'm
If
pretty sure
Jai
at this
wins one
point,
more,
at this point, because like Rise and Fishy Legs were casting this part, I think I just walked out. Obviously, me with wearing the Flareon pin, I was just like, oh no, maybe I was the caster curse. Maybe it was me.
yeah, look, rise to occasion. Oh, hang on, there is this massive mosquito thing that is just flying at me, and I've never seen anything like this before. This is incredible. Um, I'm sure it's going to leave
I
eventually,
didn't
but it is
expect a Steve
huge.
Irwin moment in this podcast, but here we go.
Now look at the way that it just perches on the side of that wall there. It's true. Look at that wingspan. Okay, I'm assuming it's going to stay there for a little bit. Anyway,
Mm,
yeah. Look, it was definitely, I guess, rise to occasion. He made the mistake of calling out the fact that Ric Flareon had not dropped a single battle, famously the
mhm,
caster's curse. And yeah, we just then watched Ric Flareon lose 5 battles in a row after not dropping literally one the entire
mhm,
tournament to go
mhm.
to losing 5 in a row. And this is something I actually heard Caleb Peng make mention to, and he was like these games aren't short. Ric Flareon was sitting there like after winning the entire day, just losing battles for like 40 minutes straight.
Oh,
and you know
oh, what a
uh,
yeah. That does something to you. Let's put it that way.
well, I can tell you what it did to Ric Flareon. It lit a fire under him, and he just came back and was like, "Nah, this isn't happening. This is my tournament to win." And he won the next one, and the next one, and the last one to claw back the grand finals, keep They Love Jai at bay, and take out the Perth Regional Championship. His first
Mm.
tournament win since the 2022 Melbourne Regional Championship as well.
And that's what mental fortitude to get to that point. Because as you can probably tell from my reaction during that time, I was just like, oh no, this is not looking good at all.
Yeah, it was looking pretty dicey. They love Jai. And, I feel like, Debbie, you did have reason to cheer for both sides here because one of the Pokemon that Jai was using to demolish Rick was the Charm A9, which
Look,
was
it
doing
was very
a
difficult
lot.
for me.
So conflicted.
Very.
But yeah, look. Regardless, in the end, Ric Flareon was able to fend him off, and the way that I've seen it put a lot on Twitter was that they really knew how to make the grand finals as exciting as possible for stream purposes. Literally, and
Mm,
I guess spoilers here, but I mean, the results. But in the very final game, game 5, bracket reset, whoever wins the next game wins. It literally came down to a Swampert mud-shotting down Amanda Buzz, both on barely any health at all. And it
yeah.
was just such a finish. And there were quite a few absolutely insane game finishes in those grand finals. It's a really good set to watch. I do recommend it.
I
Do
believe
watch
it's
it
on
on Twitch if you can,
yeah, Twitch, but I think it's
so
on
that
your
the
Twitter
chat's
as
there.
well, I
But
believe.
yeah, I figured I'd experiment. I was like, hey,
Oh.
we don't get these opportunities very often to sort of test stuff out. So I was like, oh, I uploaded the grand finals as a Twitter video, just to sort of see, I don't know, see how it would do. And I
Mhm.
guess we'll get results a little bit later. But I don't know. I'm a man who likes to experiment, Deborah. And so this is one of those times.
Okay.
Mhm, mhm,
No comment.
mhm,
So
mhm.
again, congratulations to Ric Flair on being the Perth Regional Champion of 2024. Finally, like I'll not say finally, but it's been taken away from the locals. It was Avrip, it was Rob Drogo, and now we've got this Eastern Stater taking the Perth Regional. How dare you? No, we can
Oh
talk about it next
yeah.
podcast.
No, New South Wales, baby, let's go.
Oh.
Woo! I'm now just thinking, how many regionals have been won by New South Wales residents, and we laid claim to RicFlareon. We laid claim to Agent Magikarp, who won the Sydney Regional. We laid claim to Valiant Vish, who has only just left the state, so definitely going to take all of his, wins up to this point as ours.
That's a bit
Uh,
greedy, but sure.
so I'm hearing, we won Melbourne 2022. We won, or we, I mean, I guess Yakko won OCIC. So he's sort of technically Eastern Stater, just not New South Wales. But I'd say the East is doing pretty good.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Sorry,
Fine.
Debbie. Has anyone from the West won
Look,
any of the regionals that
um,
weren't in Perth?
um,
Is that
look,
something that's
it's
happened
really
yet?
far
Is-
for us to fly over, okay? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
just it's a real
yeah.
struggle.
Sure,
Shortage on
yeah,
flights and flight times, and
yeah, yeah,
like it's a
yeah.
really awful time to fly over east. I
Oh,
don't know if
yeah,
you tried
yeah,
it
yeah. I
before.
get it. Yeah,
Like,
I've
yeah,
given it a go.
um,
I've done it before.
yeah, once, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I did it. I
yeah,
did it one time. I mean,
yep.
um, you
A
know,
couple of days ago, I believe. So yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So anyway,
All right, and Sunday. So let's talk about Sunday.
yeah. So, yeah. Tournament wraps up. We all go out and have dinner after Debbie and I have sort of packed everything up. Um, and Debbie organised a cup for the Sunday, which I've never been to a cup before. That was my first. We've had two challenges over here, New South Wales way. We've got a couple of cups coming up, but we haven't had one yet. So it was, also, we probably should have mentioned before we talk about the cup, is that there were, we won't get into like the specifics of the battles and whatnot, but we should mention that there were 4 people who qualified for Worlds from the Perth Regional Championship. So,
Yes.
shout out to RicFlareon, who he did win the
Mm.
tournament, but, he also only needed 5 championship points to qualify. So
Yeah.
he actually did that as soon as he got into the top 8, which was like, because he was in the winners bracket, he won like
Second game
2. Yeah, it was,
after Rob
I think
Drogo.
he was in it for the championship points pretty quick, I think.
Hmm.
Actually, I think he had to win 3 rounds, and then he was qualified for Worlds. Which, again, like he had to take out both Rob Drogo and go on 1001 to sort of
Mm.
get there. But anyway, he got there in the end. But Rick wasn't the only one who qualified. There were 3 others.
Yes, it was Avrip. So finally, we can talk about Perth again. So Avrip finally qualified. He only attended the Melbourne Regional. He didn't attend
Hmm.
Brisbane. And yeah, then being able to, I think he top 9 in Perth. Um, so being able to get those championship points to take him across the line. So congratulations to Adam Avrip. And
Hmm.
next was also Mikey Morgs. Mikey Morgs also qualified as well. And then finally, Rocket Claire, who also came third
Whoa.
in Perth Regional. So third in Melbourne, third in Perth, and racked up a whole lot of points as well. So yeah, congratulations to, we're adding another 4 into the this Hawaii bus that we're heading on
Hmm.
to into Honolulu.
Yeah, I mean, before Perth Regionals, we only had 3.
Yeah.
Like it's currently April. Championship point opportunities end for us at the end of May. So, like, with a month and a half to go of the full year season, we had 3 qualified. So, we got 4 over the line, and there's a few more that are sort of on the cusp as well. Like Triple Crit, I know is super close. Gone 1001
Mhm.
is fast approaching. There's a couple of New Zealand guys as well. I know Bomatsu is one of them. But yeah, big shout out to the Perth Four who all managed to get that qualification. And
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to seeing, I guess, a lot more Aussies get the opportunity to compete this season. Uh,
Mm.
and also, our first woman who's qualified
Yes.
from
I was
Australia.
gonna mention that as well, like having Rocket Claire, hashtag girls at PvP, the first Oceania woman to represent us over there. I'm super happy about it. Obviously, um, you know, there's sometimes a lack of women at the top, so having her qualify is amazing and very heartwarming for me.
Yeah, I will say, maybe it's a bit of a theme of the season. We saw Paul Usher perform really well at EUIC just the weekend before. I think she came third. Is that this isn't a concussion moment? She came third, right? And then followed
Uh,
by Rocket Claire's third place finish at Perth as well. So I feel like the kitchen's certainly warming up, and I feel like the World Championships is going to look pretty good at this point.
Yeah, I hope there'll be more women ones. I just hope it just keeps growing. Let's put it that
Hmm.
way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, Sunday Cup time.
Yes. Okay. So Sunday, do you want to talk, Debbie, about sort of? I mean, you organised the thing, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good at things.
Yeah.
Certain things. I'm good at organizing. I'm good at handling tough situations, and I am also good at cooking. So, out of those three things, organization tends to be a good one. So, we Perth was only one. Perth Regional was only one day. There was no day two. There was 27 players. There's no day two. So I was kind of like, well, we have all these like incredible battlers coming over to Perth. Why not have something on Sunday? So I had a chat with some stores that could possibly run a tournament, and we found one all the way in Rockingham. And Rockingham is probably a 40-minute drive from Perth. And yeah, they were keen. They were just like, yep, happy to host. Just bring them over. We'll sort it out for you over here. So, yeah,
Woo!
so we managed to get it sanctioned. I was happy to play head judge, and so everyone could see my head judge skills.
No comment.
And hey, um, and yeah, it was great. So I think we had 14 participants. So
Hmm.
technically, I can say now the largest local tournament in Australia. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
By one.
yeah. Hey, look, if you can beat it for next time, go ahead.
I mean,
um,
look, we haven't had a cup yet, so we'll see how we do.
maybe.
We'll see. We'll
Uh,
see.
it went really well. We had obviously like people that participated. I just call it day two of regionals, honestly, because it was like everyone that was at regionals came over and played. So it was good times, and the venue was lovely. The owner of the store, Adrian, was super accommodating and super chill. I just like that the store was quite spacious as well. So we
Hmm.
had two large tables that everyone could move around, and um, yeah, that makes a difference. Just like I've been to other stores, or I have seen photos of others around Australia, and it seems like you guys are cramped in a in a closet somewhere. It just looks like everyone's just crammed in to play Pokemon Go, whereas this was like very, very nice. And yeah, it went really well. And all it was Swiss then single elim, and it came down to Keiki Z-Tub, RicFlareon, and Fish on a Heater. So,
Hmm.
and being a cup, this is weighted more heavily with the CP. So, knowing that the top four was going to get CP regardless of what they're placed, was pretty cool as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, we had Z-Tub take it out, so another local. And
Hmm.
yeah, he did really well actually at regionals, and then did well at the cup. So he's probably within striking range actually of qualifying as well.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely getting pretty close. With I guess Jai being the other one who got really close after the second place finish and a few
Hmm.
locals
Hmm.
from beforehand. I mean,
Yeah.
Debbie's been doing a pretty solid job in getting these locals going over in Perth. So the Perth guys definitely are not starved for opportunity to get championship points from these local tournaments. So I think both Jai and Z-Tab definitely going to be heading towards that world's qualification without too much time, I'd suggest. Although, granted,
Mm.
Jai did say that he probably won't compete, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think Jai is still at school, so maybe, pocketing a bit of that money towards, like, I believe he was like going for his driver's license on the weekend. I'm just like, oh, so young. so so probably pocketing his winnings to head towards a car or something like that. So life goals, but come on, bring on those Pokemon goals.
Unlike all of the adults in the room who've turned back around to focus their efforts on Pokemon, what are these kids doing these days? Focusing on their life. Ugh, gross. Yes.
uh, existential crisis. Anyway, but yeah, after the cup, we all went down to the local sports bar, just chilled out, had a feed, watched the Eagles game.
Is that what it was? Oh.
Yeah, I think it was like West Coast Eagles versus maybe it was Richmond. I don't know. I don't follow AFL anymore.
So
I used to.
I think this is what it sounds like when we talk about Pokemon in front of non-Pokemon people because you're just saying words. I didn't-
Sports and sports, and they scored sports goals.
Woo!
Whoa.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
But
no, that's fair enough. And then I got a chai latte, uh, much to Adam's demise.
if you know, you know.
And yeah, then we dropped the boys off at the airport. So
Hmm.
dropped off Rick and Mikey Morgs as they were heading back over east. And then Steve
And
shenanigans
then
happened.
what? And then what? What happened after that? I don't remember. I-
Yeah, I know you don't remember. Oh,
Oopsie doopsies.
it was a very oopsie doopsies. I'm glad we can laugh about it now, but during that period of time, oh my goodness.
Look,
uh,
I
what's
like
his
to be
first name?
entertaining.
PvP. What's his last name? Steve. What's his date of birth? I don't know.
Hang on. I think is it publicly accessible on my Twitter? I don't know. Oh, it looks like maybe it's not. Oh wait, maybe it is. I don't know. I can see it. I don't know if that's public or not. I don't know.
Okay.
Regardless. Oh wait, you
Uh,
can't even. You can't. I was going to open Twitter on incognito, but you can't do that anymore because you have to be logged in to see Twitter, which is
yeah.
a very smart move. That was a real good one. So
Yeah.
shout out.
Darn Elon.
No, it's actually really
um,
smart to not let
mhm.
anyone see your website unless they jump over a barrier. It's actually quite five head. But
So you're saying that we should put all these podcasts and they have to like subscribe and like before.
that's actually the case, and if you're currently watching / listening and you haven't done that, you should probably do that before the cops come and get you because they're probably on their way. So I'd really try and remedy that ASAP. There's
Mm,
no hiding this. It's too late. You just have to click the buttons now. So
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
we don't make the
yeah,
rules
yeah. It's like putting your seatbelt. Like, you can't put it on afterwards. You have to do it beforehand. So you just got to do it now before they come.
before they catch you because they're gonna check.
Yep, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's Perth, 2024.
Well, yeah. Then a bit of nursing on Monday, and off you went back home on Tuesday.
Yeah, I had to delay my flight because I was like, oh, we probably need need a good night's sleep before we head out. But I got home in the end. Eventually, we
Eventually.
got there. We got there. I'm home.
Oh dear. You are home, recovering. I think we might just wrap the podcast here so you can just go recover and then, we'll hit it back up with the Perth Regional Champion of 2024, RicFlareon.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan. But
Well, you know what we need? We need to give him a random
what?
question of the podcast. We need to set that up.
That doesn't sound like a now job to me. That sounds like
If you've got a
I
question
mean,
for Rick, send it over.
yeah, actually, we don't usually have the opportunity to field that sort of thing. But yeah, I guess if you do have a question for Rick, drop it wherever things go, and we may or may not get to it. We might just ignore you. Like that sounds like something we would do, and just be
It
like,
sounds like something Steve would do.
well, I've got an excuse for this week and this week
Oh,
only. So it was
okay.
an accident, and I forgot.
Number
I just
number 4,
forgot.
number
I
5,
forgot.
number 6.
But yeah, I guess with that said, we'll see you in the next one. But also, I guess massive thank you to everyone who watched the stream.
Yes, thank you so much.
And bye.
And make sure to follow
Oh,
at G'day
not bye
Battlers
yet.
on
Oh yeah,
Twitter
yeah.
and
Do that.
and on the YouTubes
Yep, that guy.
at youtube.com/G'day
Yep, do that.
Battlers.
It's at the G'day Battlers
And
at the
so
thing. Do
Twitter,
the click
yep, Twitter,
on
YouTube. We don't have a Twitch,
on
do
the
we?
Twitter.
We don't
It's
have a
also called
Twitch.
X. We don't have a Twitch.
No,
It's
should we
like
get one of them?
purple website.
No.
It took me years to get one of those things.
Yeah, it might take
but
another couple of years, hey? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't expect anytime soon. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Later. See you. Bye.
Play the music.